Well, how is everyone?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. It's very hot out today. Heat
It is.
advisory. Staying inside.
Yes, my poor air conditioner just kicks on and on and on.
I'm trying to do this entire call from my front porch. We'll see if I have to go inside.
I think we're just waiting on Dr. Secret.
I do not see them in the waiting room. I'm admitting everyone as they arrive in the waiting room, so. We are at 11:02. Let me know if you want to go ahead and get started, Sarah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, again, and welcome to our Women's Council of Realtors St. Charles County School Board update. This is an event that we have enjoyed doing for the last couple of years. It's nice to be able to talk to those who are in charge of our schools, and they play such an important role in our communities and in what we do as realtors as well. So we're happy to be able to bring this to you again this year. So my name is Becky Klein. I'm the president of Women's Council St. Charles this year. You will also be hearing from Sarah Bell, our president-elect, in just a little bit here. My duty this morning, or my privilege this morning, is to introduce the partners that we have, strategic partners of ours that we have on the call that are the reason that we get to do events like this. So our partners and sponsors for this event are Orff Home Inspections, Investors Title, Mr. Fix-It, and Upkeep Home Warranty. So it looks like we definitely have Taylor Kita on the call from Upkeep. So Taylor, if you'd like to unmute and talk to us for just a moment about Upkeep Home Warranty and what you do, we would certainly appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Becky. And thank you guys for having me on. Women's Council has been an awesome thing. I just joined this year and it's been amazing. But I work for Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. And the biggest part about us is we do maintenance with our home warranty. We come out 4 times a year and maintain your HVAC systems, appliances, plumbing, and electrical systems. All while doing that, we use our own full-time employees. If you have any questions, you can contact me at taylor@upkeep.homes. And again, thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Taylor. We love having you with Women's Council as well. All right, at this time, I am going to turn things over to Sarah Bell, our president-elect.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you, everybody, for coming. So yeah, I just want to start by saying that real estate and superintendents actually have something in common that you might not know. And it is that we can never make everyone happy. So you know how that feels, and so do we. So I just want to say I really appreciate everything you guys are doing to keep our kids safe and keep the peace and keep things rolling, because last year was tough and we have another year coming up, and I just really we feel your pain. So we know what it's like, and you know we appreciate everything you do. So I wanted to just kind of introduce and maybe just wave your hand when I say your name, but then I'll go into actually breaking out each one, and we'll do some introductions. So today we have Dr. Wade Steinhoff from Orchard Farm School District. We have Dr. Nathan Hoven from Francis Hollow. We have Dr. Jason Seifert from St. Charles City, and Dr. Bernard Debray from Fort Zumwalt. Unfortunately, we do not have one school with us again this year. So I'm going to get right started, because actually we're going to start with Dr. Wade Steinhoff. He's Orchard Farm Superintendent. And I don't know if you guys saw the press release, but Dr. Steinhoff was promoted to the superintendent of Orchard Farm this year. So he is #1 now in his district, running things. Last year he was the assistant superintendent. So I think that shows a lot that you moved up the ladder. And you're doing everything right, and you got the superintendent position this year. So congratulations on that. And I guess just go ahead and let us know more about yourself and more about the district.
Great. Well, if I was standing in front of you, you'd see that I need a ladder often because I'm a pretty short guy. So I'm used to climbing ladders.
Yeah.
I'm real pleased to be able to stay here in Orchard Farm. My family, we truly work here, live here, play here. I've got 3 kids that attend the Orchard Farm School District. A lot of family in the region, and this is going on my 11th year in the district, and just really excited to continue to be here. It's a great community. So I was working with Sarah, and we have some administrative meetings already scheduled today, so I'm not going to be able to stay on very long, but I was pleased we were able to find time for me to join you guys for a little bit. This was actually my very first year as an assistant superintendent. I came in place of Dr. Muzzy for a presentation. It was the first thing I ever did really in that role. So I always remember your group and how welcoming you guys were, and how much I enjoyed being able to give an update on the district. So we're the smallest of the 5 school districts in the county. We have probably around 2,300 kids now. We have 5 school buildings, and soon we'll have 6. We break ground on a brand new high school here in about a month, and it'll be a process, you can imagine, but January 2024 we'll open a brand new high school, and our board has really positioned us well. We've had steady leadership in our school board and consistent leadership that's put us in a position to handle our growth. Our growth has been very steady. It's not the same volume that you'll see in other parts of the county, but very steady and consistent growth. And with a really, like I said, consistent and fantastic school board, we've been able to manage that well, and be in position well, both with facilities and finances that help us meet our ultimate goal of providing a great education for our kids. I am clearly not a realtor, but if I were and I was asked by somebody, where should I live in St. Charles County, I would tell them, boy, you can't go wrong anywhere. We have 5 great school districts in the county with great opportunities for kids in each of them. And while I feel like Orchard Farm is a special place, I feel like all of our public school districts have great opportunities for kids, and would be happy to send my kids there if I lived in those communities. So in just over a week, we will start our first day of school, much like everyone else. Last year, along with the rest of the county, we started in person 5 days a week, and as well as a virtual option for families. And I know everybody had different experiences throughout COVID and continue to. So I'm careful not to say it was a big success, but we were really proud of what we were able to offer and provide to students, and as well as have a safe and healthy environment for our staff and our kids while we did so. Today, this year, again, we'll have that in-person opportunity 5 days a week for our kids, just like the rest of the county. We also have a virtual option. We have very few kids, less than 1% of elementary are seeking to continue virtual. Out of high school, it's less than 3%. So it's a need for some, and so we're happy to create a program that meets the needs. We always talk about meeting the needs and the wants of the community, and we pride ourselves on being able to find situations where we can meet everyone's needs and wants, but certainly COVID has tested that at times. So we're ready and excited, even though it's COVID. I still get excited, giddy about a first day of school. I always love that. We have great programs in the county. At our district, we have the programs like the rest that we still like to point out because some people, don't realize, like, wow, you have biomedical program for studies in your high schools? Yes, again, all of us do. We have engineering, robotics, computer science. We have a countywide CAPS program that some of you I know are familiar with that, places kids in real world learning opportunities throughout the day. We have a great technical school in Orchard Farm. We have science program. Some people would say, well, that makes sense. You're Orchard Farm, right? You would have that. Well, it not only prepares you to lead a farm, a family farm, but it's designed to help you pursue, engineering of seeds at Monsanto, or a number of different avenues with bioengineering. We also have a free early college program. We've had over the last couple of years our first graduates of that walk across the stage at high school graduation, and we hand them 2 diplomas, one with their associate's degree that we paid in full at St. Charles Community College, and their high school diploma. So that's gone well. And again, it's about providing a lot of opportunities for kids in a diverse arena. All in all, we've got a great school board, a great community, great families, great staff, all working towards the same goal, and creating great opportunities for our kids. So, like I said, we've got great stuff going on in St. Charles County at all the school districts. I'm certainly proud of Orchard Farm, and happy to share a few moments about it today.
Thank you very much. So I am grateful to you today. You had a busy week going on, and you still carved out a little bit of time for us. So that shows, the leaders in our community do care enough about us to come and share their information. If anyone has a question for Dr. Steinhoff, please put it in the chat now, because he will have to drop off in a little bit. I did have a question for you, though. So your area is just ever increasing in population and homes. So I was curious, do these developers, when, it seems like as long as they keep getting the okay to build in the flood zone, they're just going to keep doing it. So do they ever come to you and ask for your guidance? I mean, you're the main representative of that school district who will feel that impact. Like, do they ever come to you and want to talk to you before they get this stuff approved?
Not really at that stage. I would say it's probably similar to the process that we are going through in designing our high school site, our 100-acre site, where we're working with engineering firms to really help us design the site and understand water maintenance on the site. There's, having grown up in the area, I think people that are from this part of the county certainly have their own ideas of where the water will go or where it won't go. And I've got a bunch of uncles that are farmers, and they have strong opinions on where it can and won't go, and they know exactly when a new home's built, how it's going to impact it. But out here, St. Charles City has told us over the last 6-7 years that after that Sanford Farms spot is completed, that really, fresh land is only out our direction. For the footprint of the city of St. Charles to grow, it's going to grow through us. And there's a pretty good stretch. You could continue homes for a good 15, 20 years going along 94. If you're familiar with the area, pretty much all the way to Church Road, back up to Blaze Station, and be in a pretty safe, dry area. You've got, of course, we have new homes with primarily through T.R. Hughes and McBride and Fisher Frichtel going right now, but there's also a private subdivision a little bit farther north with private lots, 5-acre lots with, they're said that those are probably going to be in the 800,000 plus range for those homes. So a variety of them, but there's a lot of space to still grow and be dry.
Okay.
So we do have one question in the chat. Will Klein asked, is the associate degree paid for through the A+ program?
No, we take that on as an investment as a district. It's outside of that A+. We actually petitioned the state to see if we could utilize those A+ dollars that kids would be using, but it's gotten hung up to this point. There's, I think, a lot of interest at the state level of seeing how to make sure kids can access their A+ dollars, but that's just an investment we take on as a district. Good to see you too, Jordan.
Okay, we've got one more question in the chat, again from Will Klein. For the small percent of students doing virtual, is there a cost burden to the district? Does it matter how many students participate in respect to cost?
Yeah, there is a cost burden. You know, some of the ESSER funds we've been able to direct, that American Recovery money, we've been able to direct to that. We felt really proud of what we were able to put together and offer last year for virtual learners. We have an attitude of always looking to improve in any way we can in any area, and that was an area we targeted to make it a little bit more flexible and better for the district as well as a student experience. And so we've reduced some of our, not necessarily our costs, but our exposure to how it impacts our in-person class sizes. So we feel good about the improvement, but in short, yeah, it's a cost. And COVID has brought out a whole bunch of new costs for us as school districts, notably how much it takes to pay someone to do a job, to attract workforce.
Thank you so much, Dr. Steinhoff, for that information. And again, I appreciate you taking time out of your retreat to come and be with us today. So.
Absolutely. And I see the message from Jacqueline, and I'll try to copy and paste that to check that out later.
Yes. Yeah, we have this recorded as well. So if you watch it later, she's going to share more information later. So thank you. Okay, I'm going to move on next to Dr. Nathan Hoven of Francis Howell. He actually became the superintendent last year. So I just want to say I have a whole new respect for you that your first year of being a superintendent was 2020. So I'm glad to see you're back.
Yes, thank you for that. I do have to admit, though, I'm not sure that Dr. Dubray or Dr. Seifert would say that having been a superintendent before that made last year all that much easier anyway. Right. So it was absolutely a challenge all the way around. And I do want to say too, Wade getting a chance to go first today, it's always helpful because we all work so closely together. We have so many of the same things to share. So he gets to steal most of our thunder right up front and leave us just kind of talking about what's left. So just a little bit of background about me. As she said, I did just start in this job last year. So I've just finished 1 year in the superintendent role. I am now starting my 4th year in the Francis Howell district and my 10th year in the county. I was at Winsfield School District prior to this. So 10 years in this county and just excited about, you know, the next years ahead of us and all the good work we have to do. We are a district of about 16,500 kids, somewhere in that range. Much of what Wade said, I will just echo, so I won't repeat a lot of that. We're all working through many of the same things around COVID. Very similar as well. We've got about 98% of our kids telling us they're going to come in person, which is up. Last year, we were only about 80% of our kids in person at the end of the year. So talking about, you know, almost every single family has opted to come to school this year. And so we will also take care of those kids virtually. Those who aren't able to come to us, we've got them set up to do virtual coursework as well. So all of that's very similar. Other things I want to talk about. We all continually express how proud we are of our entire county. We do have great school districts all the way across the board. And then we all individually have the things that we're proud of as well. We just found out Monday officially that we have another Gold Star school, which Gold Star is a Missouri recognition that is leading towards the National Blue Ribbon School program. So we now have one of our middle schools, Francis Howell Middle, is in the running to be a Blue Ribbon school, which we'll hear about that later this fall. That is our 5th school in the last 3 years to be part of that Gold Star program. We've had 3 elementaries, one of our high schools have already been Blue Ribbon, and so just excited to have another school in the running for that. It's just a testament to all the hard work that they've done with our kids. We also found out that this was a little bit ago, but U.S. News and World Report always puts out state rankings, and all 3 of our high schools were in the top 25 in the state. So In most Business County, we can talk about how well all of our schools continually rate. And Francis Howell is the number 8 district in the state on the niche.com rankings that come out. So we really love what we do for our kids and for our families. We're very proud of the results that we get. And I'm sorry, I have a phone ringing in the background, so we'll just talk through that. Other exciting news for us, we passed a bond issue last year. It's the biggest school district bond issue in the history of Missouri, $244 million. And it really will be bond work that's going to span probably about 8 years. We, rather than going out for separate bond issues along the way, we asked for a large vote up front, and we will continue to work on that. Kind of the flagship project of that bond issue is underway. We are rebuilding Francis Howell North High School. So we're building a new high school on that campus. And once it's complete, we will tear down the old building and finish out the rest of the campus. But that is underway. Ground has been broken and dirt is moving, and we're planning to start in that school 2 school years from now. So in the fall of 23 is our plan to move in that building. I think everyone knows that COVID, the lasting impacts start to be supply issues, and for construction to be able to keep their timelines and all of that is something we'll have to keep a close eye on. It is hard, literally, even just to get some of the things you need to keep your building moving along. So we'll keep working through that and working with our community on that. Wade did talk too about all the programs we have, and it really is very similar across most of our districts. The CAPS program and the early college. Unfortunately, in Francis Howell, we're not able to fund the early college for our families, but we do have that option available as well. Kids can still get that associate's degree. What I'm most proud of to report is just recently this summer, our district took the step forward to introduce a Black history and a Black literature course at our high schools. That was something that we felt was a long time coming. And it took us a while to get there, but we are now proud to offer those courses as electives to our high school kids. So we're going to moving forward with equity work in our district and working to show all of our kids a sense of belonging and value in our school district. So very excited about that. Other things going on, Wade talked a little bit about these ESSER funds. We're all working on how to access those funds and how to use them well. We've surveyed our communities. We're going to be running focus groups with community members to really get some strong feedback on what our community would like to see us spend that money on. Because Francis Howell is also in a unique situation that we've got a pretty significant budget issue we're working through. We actually announced last spring that we were cutting over 100 staff members in order to get our budget back on track. And we've made some great progress on that, but we've still got a little work left to do to get us to the right place. I say over 100 staff members, the vast majority of those ended up being retirements or other vacancies. So it wasn't that many people actually lost their jobs with us, but from a staffing perspective, we have had to cut a significant over $5 million worth of positions in our district. So we'll keep working as a district to show our community that we're taking the right steps we need to do to move us forward there. I think all of the rest of the things, it's much of just echoing a lot of what Wade said, and I am incredibly proud at how well the superintendents and the districts in this county work together. I don't think you'll find another county in the state that has as cohesive a set of school districts and superintendents, because we problem solve together. Everything we do, we reach out to each other and we do what we can to support each other. And I think as a result, the entire county is going to continue to see a lot more success just because of how we all work together. So that's what I have for updates. Any questions that I can speak to?
Yeah, we are going to do questions at the end, but I did have a quick one just to follow up on what you said about your staffing. Are you still hiring right now, or have you filled all the positions?
We have a little bit left. Our new teachers are in this week, and I think we've hired about 75 new teachers, but we did have a couple of late resignations. So I think as of yesterday, we're still working to fill, I think, 3 certified positions. We are always hiring support staff. That is true. I'm sure everyone would say the same. Bus drivers, paraprofessionals, custodians, we will have openings in those positions at all times. So we will continue to invite applicants to come and join the Francis Howell family, or many of the others I'm sure would say the same thing about their support staff.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Hogan. That was awesome. Okay, next up, I'm going to go to Dr. Jason Seifert with St. Charles City. I tried to do some homework on you. I think I got this right. Is this going to be your 20th year in education?
Actually, 25.
25, okay.
Actually, it's going to pale. This is not going to be anything to what Dr. Bray says about his career, but actually this is year 26, year 6 in City of St. Charles School District, and actually year 4 is superintendent, which is kind of crazy to think about. But
yeah, you have quite an impressive resume. I will say you've held a lot of high level positions within the school district. So yeah, tell us more about yourself and more about your district.
well, and then just individually, as the man that will speak at the end needs no introduction, but Dr. Bray is the one who literally personally gave me my first opportunity to be an administrator 22 years ago and opened a brand new school called Westhoff Elementary School. And I was in Zumwalt for 20 years. So I thank Dr. Bray for everything that he was able to give me. And hopefully I haven't messed that up too much under his regime. And then I came to St. Charles as the HR guy, assistant superintendent of HR, like I said, 6 years ago. And now, and I found myself in the superintendency within 2 years. That was very quick. And here we are in our 4th year. And I say that the last year is like dog years. So I feel like I could put 7 years on.
Yeah.
I'm just very thankful. And as the gentleman, Nathan and Wade has said, we've got the St. Charles County is amazing. It's just an amazing place to work and live. My kids have gone through Zumwalt. I have a son that's getting ready to graduate at Zumwalt South this year. And Zumwalt has been home for a long time, but I just love the city of St. Charles as well. And Wentzville and Francis Howe and Orchard Farm. I mean, it's a tremendous place to live, work, and have our kids go to school. So I'm proud to be the superintendent of the City of St. Charles School District. A lot of things that the gentlemen have already said we're doing here as well. We're about 4,800 kids at this point. We've been anywhere from 5 to 5,200, but we're about 4,800 at this point. Not necessarily think that's gonna be a trend that we're gonna see us decrease. We've been pretty stable the last 3 or 4 years. I think it has a lot to do with COVID. We obviously, just like the other two have talked about, we were very proud that we were in person the entire school year. Last year, we are looking forward to having probably almost 99% of our kids back. But we will have the virtual program. Just not that this is good or bad, but just a little different angle to our virtual program in our high schools. We have an all access program where every teacher has a camcorder in the classroom with Zoom capabilities. And so our students who are virtual at the high school level actually they click right into their classes. It's not a separate program. And so that's kudos to our teachers to be able to do that all last year. So when we do have contact tracing, quarantining, kids are out, they just turn right around and they're on the Zoom call with their teachers and they can still be connected with their classes. So that's a really neat program that we've had. And we're looking forward to this year. August 23rd is our first day of school. Just had 50 new teachers come in the last 3 days for their new teacher orientation. That's up a little bit for us. Usually we're anywhere from 30 to 40 new teachers, so we're up to 50. Man, we just got a great new crop of staff, and we're pretty much fully staffed. You know, we talked about, you see on the news that people are struggling. For the most part, you know, bus drivers and food service, and we could use some a little boost in the paraprofessional area, but in terms of a lot of those areas that people have struggled to fill, we've been able to keep our employees and keep them. And I'll tell you one thing in the City of St. Charles School District, this doesn't mean that it doesn't happen in other places, but man, we have loyalty. We have loyalty, we have great history here in St. Charles, and it's just a great place to be. A couple other things about us. We had a bond issue passed as well in the spring. It was no tax increase of $50 million. So that's basically 3 bond issues in the last 5 to 8 years. We have tremendous support from our community, and projects are just all over this place. We have building projects. You know, we obviously have some of the oldest buildings in the county, and you would know it. I mean, they're state of the art. We keep them up. That's a very important trait to have, and to make sure your buildings are and facilities are at top notch for our staff and students. One thing you'll notice that will be very noticeable if you get to any one of our 2 stadiums that we put in state of the art new turf in both fields, and so we're excited about that. Lewis and Clark and CAPS, both those programs are shared with our county. We're the fiscal agent, so the Lewis and Clark Career Center is in our school district as well as the CAPS. We house that, and we're very proud of that. I'm a big theme guy, and Bernie always kind of makes fun of me a little bit because I'm an elementary principal. So We do a theme every year, so it's important to us to have a mission and a vision. Our mission is to reach, teach, and empower all of our students. Our vision is to be the best at what we do in terms of academic services. And so we strive that through those mission and vision to have, so what we do is we have 2 big rocks in our district as well as a theme each year. So our big rocks are response intervention as well as student needs. And then our theme this year is SCSD Best. We're going to be the best we can. And we've taken a little page of our diversity, equity, inclusion work of best means believing in every student and really meeting the needs of every student that we have in our school district. We also have a Gold Star school from last year in 2020, which was Lincoln Elementary. So we're very excited about that. Something that's kind of new that we will have for the first time is esports teams at our high school. So that's kind of cool as well. And then through the ESSER funds, we have specific programming, really making sure that we're focusing on the learning loss of our students and credit recovery. And then this week coming up, next week's busy week. This week's busy week because of NTO, but next week we have our all district kickoff with all our staff. And then we have our annual festival, family festival on Thursday, where we pair up with our, here in the city of St. Charles, we have these awesome support systems of We Love St. Charles and Care to Learn and helping neighbor. And so on Thursday, we will give out probably thousands of backpacks and free food to our families that come to our family festival. And we're going to have a vaccine clinic there as well with all 3 of the different shots. So we're excited about that. And then tonight is our board meeting when we will make the decision with the Board of Education of what protocols look like moving forward for this year. So all in all, last year obviously was very challenging. This year will be challenging, but I am so proud of our staff. I'm so proud of our students and our parents. And the city of St. Charles is a special place. It's because of the people. And I am here as a superintendent to serve them and do everything I can to make sure this is the best place where truly all students are learning and growing every day. And that's what we do. So that's us. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, that's great. I wanted to ask you, because the footprint of your district is so specific and there's not a whole lot of construction that happens within that and, new homes. So I wondered if you do stay consistent or if you saw any fluctuation last year with your student population, but you kind of answered that.
Yeah, we're 17 square miles, city square miles. So we're just right in here, but we have Sanford Farm still going strong. We've got a couple of different areas that we're, when I say growth, but we're seeing obviously some new home building, but for the most part, we're not going to grow too much. And I think the 200 less kids that we've seen, I truly think that had a lot to do with COVID last year, to be honest with you. I think we're going to pretty much stay steady around that 5,000 student mark. So.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Seifert. That's awesome. Okay, now moving on to Dr. Bernard Dubray. He wins the award today for the most years as superintendent. I have you at 32 years as superintendent of Fort Zumwalt. Is that right?
Yeah, it's 37.
37, okay. Even better. So, but you've been in education longer than that as well.
Yeah, 53 years. This is my 53rd year in
Wow.
education. I started out as a teacher in the Pattonville district for 5 years, and I was in the Orchard Farm district as a principal and assistant superintendent. And then in 1982, I came to Fort Zumwalt as assistant superintendent, which I served as for 3 years. 1985, I became superintendent, and that's been my career ever since. So there's not many superintendents that last more than 3 to 5 years is what the average is throughout the country. And the 37 that I've lasted is an anomaly, but it is the longest term, currently the longest term in the state of Missouri. So I'm proud of that the school board has continued to hire me back year after year. And we have a great district. All 3 of my children went here and have all done really, really good in their careers. So I'm always proud of that. So, yeah, at the end of the presentations, by that time you kind of think you've got an idea where you want to go, and I don't know where I want to go with my presentation because there's so much that's been said that is, for all of us that you kind of pick and choose what's left. So I would start off and just say that what the other guys have said about the cooperation between school districts, this is not something that's always happened in our county, but it certainly is for the last 6 to 7 years. St. Louis County, they have 42 school districts over there, and it's hard for them to have consistency. We have 5, and we get along so well that there's a lot of benefits people don't even know about just through the problem solving and the cooperation between the districts. So it's really a good thing. We're good people to work together. Fort Zumwalt was the largest school district in the state of Missouri that came back face-to-face last year. We had 15,000 students that were face-to-face and another 2,500 that were virtual. We're in the top 10 school districts in the state of Missouri, size-wise, 17,500. I don't think that number will change. I've been here long enough. I was here for the growth years when we were growing 650 to 800 kids a year. We're not doing that anymore. It's peaked out, and we might lose 100 to 150 kids just because, as you well know, a lot of people are not selling their homes. They're staying as empty nesters. And if they in a district that doesn't have much more room to build new homes, people have to turn their homes over, and younger families have to move in if you're going to keep that growth going. But people are kind of staying put right now, and therefore kind of shuts out new growth coming in. So I think we'll be stable, or maybe 100, 150 loss, but that's still plenty big for a school district. So we have 5 high schools, 4 middle schools, 16 elementary schools. Of those, I have been directly responsible with the Hope High School is our alternative school. We bought that property. And then 3 other high schools, I've been here when we built them, 2 middle schools when they built them, and 9 elementary schools. Of all those, I've been here long enough for all that. $375 million in bond issues since I've been superintendent to build all those buildings and address all that growth. This past year, we had no shutdowns. We're the largest district to come back face to face. We used the protocols that we use were masking, hand sanitizing, and social distancing, and they worked very, very well. We had all of our sports teams were able to compete this year. This past year, we set a record in that South High School was the first public high school in the state that had both boys and girls soccer teams win state championships in the same year. We won one in the fall and one in the spring. We had 200 plus musicians that were recognized at the state level by the Missouri State Activities Association. We had 8 of our athletic teams that made Final Fours for this past year. And then we had one student that I just want to make mention of. Abby Chartron is a junior at East High School, and she won the Congressional Art Contest. And she and her family are going to be flying to Washington, D.C. to participate in a ceremony where her painting will be hung in the U.S. Capitol for the next year. And she actually won that same award when she was in 8th grade. So really a good kid and remarkable award. So I would also tell you that we graduated 1,400 students this year. Of those 1,400, they earned $49 million in scholarships. So that's quite an accomplishment for that number of students. They were in school, those 1,400 were in school for 13 years from kindergarten through 12th grade. The cost has run, it varies, but this past year, the cost was $13,000 a student. If you use that same cost, it would cost $142,000 to educate every graduate. And that whole class of 1,400 students that graduated cost the district $198 million over their 13 years. So pretty good, significant contribution to our students. We are going to start school on August 23rd. Like most everybody else, I think Wentzville starts on the 24th. Currently, we are mass optional. That was decided by our school board in June. So a lot has changed since June. I don't know if that's going to change between now and August 23rd. It might. we have a large segment of our parents that would like to see their kids math optional, just like we have a large segment that would like to see their kids in math. So it's truly a 50-50 situation. So we're going to make somebody mad no matter what we do, but we just have to make the right decision, as the school board does, and we'll be doing that over the next several days. Might mention as to the realtors that I know that there's a partnership, and it's maybe an unofficial partnership between school districts and realtors, just like there are between school districts and cities. We, like Nathan, all of our 4 comprehensive high schools were named by the U.S. News and World Report as being one of the best high schools in the country, and they're in the top 25% of Missouri high schools that received that award. We also had 4 of our high schools be recognized for distinctive recognition for Project Lead the Way. Project Lead the Way is the largest national curriculum for STEM in the country. And it's a series of courses that you get your curriculum from this national curriculum. It's quite an accomplishment that each of your high schools be recognized for their STEM courses. So those are the kind of things that want to make people move to St. Charles County and any one of our 5 districts. But good schools go hand in hand with good communities. You will not find one without the other. And we help you sell your homes by having good schools that people are proud of and they want to move here. So we recognize that and try to take that very seriously in our unofficial partnership. I will say this year, the average home price in St. Charles County runs about $290,000. Our tax rate is going to be next year $4.60. That's 26 cents lower than what it was last year. So that $290,000 house will pay taxes of about $2,500 based on that $4.60 tax rate. $2,500, and I just mentioned it cost us $13,000 to educate a kid. So, we have to find the rest of that money elsewhere, usually state support, federal support, other sources of local revenue, and there are some. So I think it's significant that it's a good value when people move here for the high quality education they're getting. So we are looking forward to another great year. We had a really good year considering what we went through last year, a pandemic. We had a good year. So I'm looking forward to another one. We've got a few hills to climb and we'll get her done. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And yeah, you're so right that it makes our job easier, when we have these wonderful school districts, because we know no matter where we put somebody, they're going to get a quality education. So it is a partnership with you all. I want you guys to now get introduced to Jacqueline Wolverton. She's a realtor in St. Charles County, and she wants to talk about a program that Missouri Association of Realtors has created that it's called It's Your Move. And Jacqueline, I'm just going to let you take it away.
Thank you, Miss Sarah. Can you guys hear me okay? All right. So yeah, I was assigned to the task force for St. Charles County, as well as Lincoln, Pike, and Warren. So if any contacts, can be shared, it's a program that Missouri Realtors developed alongside the Missouri State, I think it was the Department of Education, but it's geared toward high school juniors and seniors. And it's essentially a 4-day online course that helps them learn about home ownership, selling a home. There's consumer credit is one of the 4 programs. And we've been working on it for about, I would say 3 to 4 years, just trying to get the word out there. It's hard to get the realtors involved and get the word out there, but it's another story to try and get it out there in all of the educators' faces. So we do have some things that we can share, a little bit more information. I did put the link in the sidebar chat, but it even has all of the curriculum that it would fulfill for that instructor's class. And they can partner with a realtor if they want someone to come in and present some of the material. We do have a training that I believe they're requiring all of the realtors that want to get into the schools and assist the teachers with. So it's really exciting. It's full of information to just help those kiddos get out there and, live successful lives after they graduate. So I think that's it. If anybody has any questions, I'll put my contact in the side so you guys can reach out to me, any realtors, superintendents, whatever I can do to help you guys get this out there. It's a super cool program and it's free.
Thanks, Jacqueline. That's awesome.
Thanks, Sarah.
So yeah, I guess we're ready for questions. If anybody has questions, please put them in the chat. And
We do have one question in the chat. Again, Will Klein. He said, Dr. Dubray touched on this. In our industry, the quality of schools play a major role in where people decide to live and where companies decide to plant their businesses. We know our schools are great in the rankings, but we hear about schools like Kirkwood, Parkway, and Ladue. As leaders in our schools, do you look at this competitively and how we can move up the ranks and be even more desirable to new companies and residents?
Well, I can say that during my time, Parkway and Rockwood and Pattonville and Clayton, Ladue, I mean, those were all the districts that really people look to for quality, and they were always leading the pack. But I will tell you this much, before this pandemic hit, and even during the pandemic to a degree, we were all in our county doing really, really well on statewide assessments. And I know on our annual performance report, APR, that's how DESE certifies their school districts. We were very often ahead of the Parkways and the Rockwoods in our APR ranking. Fort Zumwalt, the last 2 years that they gave APR was 100%. And I think some of the other districts here in our county were also that high. And some of the Parkways and Rockwoods were not. So I used to think that, but it seemed like my whole career we were chasing Parkway or chasing Rockwood or Clayton or something. And we've really caught them in a lot of things like our statewide assessments and our APR rankings and things like that. So I think we're already there, and that's probably why St. Charles County is still one of the fastest growing counties in the state. People are coming here, and a lot of them are coming from St. Louis County.
And I can just add, we do look at that. Every time those scores come out, we as districts are always seeing how do we stack up. It's not just what are we doing for our residents and our own internal tracking, but we do want to know how we compare with other schools around. So I would agree with a lot of Dr. Dubray said. We do see that in many measurements, we do outperform those districts, and we are proud of that. It's not that we're just here to beat this school or beat that school. That's not really our goal. But it does help us to know how we stack up for our community when compared to others. I would say the other piece that makes that, if you want to call it competition, but what makes it challenging for us is financially, our districts are all coming from a different financial standpoint than a lot of the St. Louis County districts. So our ability to bring in extra resources and extra interventions and things like that, we're much tighter on our ability to do those things than some of those districts in St. Louis County.
And one other thing, Will, you guys may or may not be aware of this. St. Louis County has a big financial advantage over Fort Zumwalt and all the other county school districts. They have special school districts. So their special education needs, which are some of the most expensive part of our budgets, that's taken over by a special school district in St. Louis County. They have their own tax rate. So on top of their tax rates, which sometimes look rather low, you have to add on top of that, I think it's $1.50 or $2 for a special school district. And then they take that burden, that financial burden, off of the local school district. They might have some special ed classes assigned to them, but they're not paying for that teacher. They're not paying for the paraprofessionals in there. And that is a huge advantage that not everybody knows about. Even some of the people that come out here and maybe they'll look at a tax levy and say, oh my gosh, that's high. Well, where'd you come from? Well, I came from Hazelwood. Well, guess what? On top of your tax levy, you got another $2. So sometimes people don't even know that that's taken place. We have to pay for special education out of our budgets that I just mentioned earlier.
I'll just add real quick. I feel like, yeah, I do think we're very competitive in nature. We want the best scores. We want the best results. And sometimes just keep in mind too, standardized test scores and things that you see that we get ranked on, that doesn't tell the whole story either. And I'll tell you, from the city of St. Charles, people will say, oh, the city's a little bit older, the school's a little bit older, there's a little bit more diversity, there's a little bit more socioeconomic diversity in our district. We're close to 40% free and reduced lunch, but I can tell you our kids can do whatever they want to do. And we have fantastic teachers and we have top of the line facilities. And if anybody has any questions or wants to come see the city of St. Charles School District or any of these districts, they have questions or they want to come see it, they would be amazed at what they saw in these schools. They would be completely amazed with what, the Kirkwoods, the Parkways, the Ladus, like Dr. Bray said, they really have nothing on us in terms of what we're providing our families. And I truly mean that and believe that in all of our St. Charles County schools. And honestly, it's almost keep up with the Joneses in our county, not so much St. Louis County. I mean, Wentzville's, Howell's, Zumwalt's, the Orchard Farm. We have a strong. We do really well together, and we root for each other, and we really it's a great partnership. But we want to do well for them and for ourselves and stay up with them as well. So there's plenty of competitiveness out there, but I can guarantee if anybody has questions or wants to see really what's happening in these schools, they would be amazed at what they see. So that's my 2 cents. I have to go. I'm so sorry. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. All right, we have another question in the chat. We have, what is the biggest challenge that schools are facing today, and what can our industry do to help or assist with that?
Bernie, maybe I'll go first on this one and then you can.
Yeah, you chime in there.
One of our challenges that doesn't seem to be going away is legislation that is not fond of public schools. And so year after year, we spend the entire legislative sessions hearing about, what bills are being proposed and what things, school choice is one of them, other types of things that are not helpful to public schools and certainly not going to help us move forward in the ways that we want to. So that is a challenge that comes up year after year. And with each passing year, another bill gets passed, another change gets made that adds challenges to our plates. So I think that's one. We work hard to lobby with our legislators and spend time with them. So any assistance anyone else can do to help talk about the value of public schools to a community, and how for us to continue to do what we do for families, we need legislation that helps us do those things, not makes it harder for us.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think sometimes some of the legislative efforts is a little misguided in the sense that there's a constant effort to cut taxes. And I get that. But if they're cutting taxes that are going to support schools, either through, moving public money to private schools or whatever, if they do that and we're to keep up the same level of education, it's going to cause tax increases on the local taxpayer. So it kind of shifts the burden a little bit from the state to the local taxpayer, which is not good for you all trying to sell homes if you're selling them in a school district that has a higher tax rate. So I don't know. I've never quite figured out what some people's motives are. I get lowering taxes, understand that, but you need to see what the consequences are. And there would be some dire consequences for your tax supported organizations.
All right,
I think another thing to just mention is the what we're going through, the pandemic. I mean, we kind of talk ever so often. You just feel like you can't get away from it. We thought we were in really great shape and we're coming back, and you know, that we had another bad July, and even with vaccines. So we got to get through this, because we'll never be totally normal again until we can get away from that and just live our lives the way we did before. But we're not there yet.
So can I ask a question, or did you have more in the chat? Or?
I was just going to thank Shelley Clark from Cardinal Surveying for that question, and of course the superintendents for their answers. Sarah, go ahead.
I did just have one more. I think I read that the health department told the school districts that you have to do the contact tracing. Is that correct?
Yeah, they have, I think, 5 contact tracers that they actually employ. But if we left it up to them and we didn't jump in and do the contact tracing, there'd be many, many, many more kids and staff members quarantined. So by default, we've kind of done that.
Okay, that was going to be my question. I mean, if they are going to require you to do that, are they sending you any support staff, or do you have to use your own man hours to do that?
We're on our own.
Yeah, and I would add, I mean, it literally comes down to, we have people go into classrooms and with tape measures, and they measure how far apart kids were sitting. And there's no way the health department could send that kind of support. There's no way they could come into our individual classrooms and do that. So it is a lot of time. Our people have found good routines on doing that, and are very efficient the best they can. They've gotten very efficient at it, but it is a lot of work, and another thing that this pandemic adds on top of everything else we're having to do.
Yeah, so a principal or a nurse will go in there and do the background checks with parents and other people, and they can probably narrow it down to the 4 or 5 closest kids to a positive contact. Whereas the health department, since they can't send us help, are more likely to quarantine an entire classroom rather than the 4 or 5 that we can identify because we're on site.
So is that still going to be in play this year, where kids that maybe don't have symptoms and are healthy are being quarantined because they were near somebody? Or I kind of wondered if, you know, if they wear the mask, does that mean they don't have to get quarantined? Do you have that figured out? Or?
Yeah, it's kind of fluctuated quite a bit between CDC guidelines and local health department guidelines. But our understanding right now, and Nathan, you correct me because I could very well be wrong, people that are vaccinated would not have to quarantine if they're exposed to a positive case. If we have students in a classroom and both of them are masked, the student that's exposed to a positive case would be given the modified quarantine, which allows them to come to school, but they have to quarantine at home. But that's only if they're both masked. So if we have mask optional and one's masked and the other isn't, then they have the full 14-day quarantine. So am I right on that, Nathan?
It's a little different on the modified. The CDC had put out a school-based exception that says if you're at least 3 feet away in mask, there's no quarantine at all. It's not even modified. And so whereas last year kids, like for example, a high school kid would still have to quarantine, meaning they couldn't go to sports or after school jobs, but they were allowed to come to school. The CDC exception is better in that sense because they're not even modified quarantine. The problem is it leaves a gap at that 0 to 3 feet. If kids are really that close together, we may not have as much help this year. And we have a call with our health department here in about 2 hours, and we'll get that final clarification. I just happened to get to talk with them yesterday and got some final details. So we'll have a change there, but we really do keep kids 3 feet apart. I'm not concerned that that's going to make a big difference. So the masking situation will be the biggest deal breaker on whether or not those kids will have to go home, and just encouraging kids and adults who are eligible to get vaccines. The one way you can guarantee you get to stay at school is to be fully vaccinated. And you know what kind of impact we'll see on that will play out once we get our kids back in school and start doing it. I didn't mention this in my update. We are working on our final COVID mitigation strategies as well. That includes masking, distancing, all those other conversations. We will put out our final update soon on what those rules are going to be for us. And I think we're all in that same boat. They could change. We will likely put out something later today, but between now and the start of school, we could add to it, we could edit it. I mean, the situation changes pretty quickly at times.
Okay, thank you.
And I do see a comment in the chat I could respond to as well from Katie about, so parents need to get over staff doing it. I mean, yeah, I would say if we pushed hard and said, hey, health department, that's your problem, you need to do it. They can't come into our classrooms and measure desks. So they might just have to tell us, well, I'm sorry, you have to send every kid in that class home. Our ability to get in and really do it well will keep the vast majority of those kids in class. And we might send home 2 kids. And so it really is in our students and families' best interest for us to spend our time helping with that. Even though it is a lot of time, it's a lot of energy, it is the best way to keep as many kids as possible healthy and in school.
Yeah, and we're keeping visitors out of the buildings just as we did last year, but opening up things, community events after school hours. But during school hours, we're going to keep people out of the buildings, just like we did last year. That was one of our positive strategies to keep illness out of the buildings. People were very understanding of that in the midst of that pandemic, but we're opening things up a little bit after school hours, so it's not during the school day.
All right, thank you. Do we have any more questions? Okay, seeing none, I would like to, oh, hang on just one second. Shanna Eubank said, as a parent at FHSD, I cannot say enough thank yous to them for taking on that contact tracing. It was a game changer in terms of continuity of education, and communication was quick and clear. 100% agree. So thank you to our superintendents, for all of our participants and attendees that came today, especially our sponsors as well. I just want to take this moment to remind you that we are in the midst of an election at our association as well. So the voting opens September 2nd for that. We do have a couple, I see one person on the call that is running for one of our board of directors, Maria Partridge. Go ahead and give us a wave. I am also running for president-elect of our association. So please make sure that you get out and vote September 2nd through September 15th. That is all we have today. Again, thank you so much for attending, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.